Friends, welcome back to our channel In Search of Research. So in this video we'll discuss something new, right? Because we have already discussed about validity, reliability, and I have already covered the reliability part, and I will cover the validity part in next video. So today let's discuss about theory. So what is theory? Theory doesn't mean that I am very theoretical and you are practical. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the theory that is used in social science research. So how someone can use theory, and why theory is essential in the social science research. If I say you are cooking something without knowing the recipe, like if you are doing research without theory, it's same. Means without knowing the recipe, you are just cooking. So then you cannot bring the taste. So like if you are doing something in social science research without theory, then you cannot bring the essence of that research. Then next is, what is theory? So theory is a systematic explanation for a particular phenomenon, and theory should be established over the period of time, and it is already used or validated by the many scholars. Otherwise, if it is a new theory and it is not established and it is not tested in different context, then there is a question mark of that the applicability of that theory. So that's why we always prefer to take well-established theory that is already used by many scholars over the period of time. And if I'm talking about theory, then theory can be tested and theory can be developed. In qualitative research, we usually develop a theory by following different qualitative methods like interview or grounded theory approach, or even if through case study research you can also establish a theory. But if I'm talking about quantitative research, then in quantitative research mostly we test the theory. Means we empirically tested the theory. So how you can test a theory? Because means you just adopt a theory in your research, then you add to that theory or you just contribute to theory, then you can test the theory in your context. Next is, why theory is important for quantitative research? Because in quantitative research, most of the time we develop a conceptual framework or conceptual model. Conceptual model should be developed on the basis of theory, because without theory you cannot develop a conceptual model. If you are developing a conceptual model without theory, then you can say that you are proposing a new kind of model that is not already backed by any theory. So that's why to develop our empirical research and give a rationale to your study, we always adopt a theory in quantitative research. In quantitative research, there are two types of theory mostly adopted by the researchers. Means one theory that is adopted by the researcher to give a rationale to the study. Means these theories not help you to directly test. Means you cannot just adopt this kind of theory and test it. No, these kind of theories will give you a rationale to your study, so that you can explain your conceptual framework, or you can answer your research question, or you may fulfill your research objective. For example, let's say there is a theory called Q utilization theory. That is a theory that not like theory that you just adopted and tested. No, this theory will give a rationale to your study. How? Suppose let's say someone wants to know that how this online shopping is influenced by the websites. So then the researcher may develop a questionnaire or the instrument to measure the different attributes of website, and In the other hand, they can also develop a instrument to measure the purchase intention or buying intention, you can say. So after data collection, now you just want to test the theory, right? Because you want to link how this website attributes link to the purchase intention. So here this queue utilization theory will help you. How? Because queue utilization theory explain a phenomenon that websites attributes like websites features, okay, the image, the quality of the sound, okay, picture, everything that influence all these queues, right? These queues means all the whatever I have said, like image, sound, okay, like your the speed of the website, okay, how the company company organizes merchandise in that website, everything. These are the queue, right? And they queues influence the consumer to buy something from the website. So in this way we can say that we cannot test that theory directly, but it will give a rationale to your study, or you can say that it give a it gives a way that you can connect your variables, like here like website features and buying behavior. So next is the theory that can be directly adopted and tested in a particular context, right? So for example, let's say one theory is called technology acceptance model, that is popularly known as TAM, and it is developed by Davis in 1988. So this theory you can directly adopt in your context and you can test it, because this theory already empirically validated in different contexts, and this kind of theory produces a very consistent empirical results, right? So suppose, let's say someone want to know that why the employees or students want to adopt generative AI websites or generative AI apps. So this is a kind of technology, like for example ChatGPT is a generative AI tool, right? Why the employees and students want to adopt? So to know this phenomenon, right, you can use the theory that is called technology acceptance model, because it has already three variables. For example, perceived age of use, means how easy to use generative AI, for example. Then perceived usefulness, it is very important. One variable that is exist in a technology acceptance model, that is perceived usefulness, how useful your generative AI. Then another factor is, let's say, attitude. What is the attitude of the employee or student towards this generative AI tool? And all these three variables will influence the adoption intention of the employee or the student. So you can directly adopt that theory, and whatever the existing questionnaire are already there for to measure all these variables, like whatever I have said, that is perceived usefulness, perceived age of use, attitude, and purchase intention. You just put and you collect data, and you can test it in your context, and you may find some good results that all these factors may influence the adoption intention towards generative AI. So this kind of theory you can directly adopt and test it. Another theory is there that is called theory of planned behavior. It is kind of same kind of theory. Another theory is called TRA, theory of reasoned action. You can also directly adopt this theory and you can test it in your context. But it is always recommended that you cannot simply just adopt the theory and test it. You should add some new variables, like for example in, let's say, in generative AI context, right? We can add for example one new let's say new variable, let's say techno stress. Is it there any techno stress to use this kind of technology, generative AI? You can also add to that theory. So it is always recommended that don't use that theory directly. Use just add 1 to 2 variables, then you can test it. So next question is how someone use a particular theory in his or her context. So for this question, I always recommend that you should do extensive literature review, because your context is already already there are many research in your context, because your context is not out of box, right? So when you go through the literature review, then just look at the papers, how they have used the theory, whether they are used a particular theory to build a rationale for their study, or whether they are directly adapt and test the theory. Yes, if whatever they have done, you just follow them, then only you get a clarity how you can use a particular theory in your context. And very important that you should always add to that theory, means you need to contribute that theory. That is called knowledge creation. What what we have already discussed about, that is add to that theory. That means you just contribute to that theory, means there is a gap in that theory and you are contributing to theory with a new variable, or in a new context, whatever. So I can say that theory is very, very essential for the social science research, and every scholar must know about the different theory that are already used by the researcher in their area or in their context, and they definitely should adopt that theory. So this is from my side, and I hope you understand the concept of theory. So in next video we'll come up with validity. So thank you, and subscribe our channel.